ITV, certainly the best. ITV, certainly the best.
Many thanks again for rejoining us on the program TMI on the ITV network. Race for 2027 is hearting up and of course gaining serious momentum. We'll begin our conversation today from some of the issues surrounding allegations and counter allegations for Edo South Senatorial District, and then of course that will extrapolate that to look at the expectations on the national level. I've got Dr. Alasa Brimo. He's the Director General of APC in Diaspora, joining us virtually, and of course Ahiswan Romosale is a political scientist and also a chieftain of the APC. He will be joining us virtually from Benin. Gentlemen, thank you for joining me on the show, TMI, this lovely Monday morning. Let me begin with you, Dr. Alasa. Good to have you on the show. Dr. Alasa, if you can hear me, it's good to have you on the program.
It's a good morning. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear, loud and clear. Good to have you join us. Fantastic. Let's quickly talk about some of the controversies surrounding APC primaries, particularly in Edo South Senatorial District. We heard, I was there in the social media space for some days, a statement credited to a chieftain of the party saying, they already are aware of who the winner will be or the candidate of the party will be, but it's certainly not a pastor. What do you make of that statement? That statement has been analyzed, extrapolated by various stakeholders. Everything converged into one direction, that as a party chieftain, such a statement shouldn't have come out at all. What do you make of that?
our political space. We are having a party chairman that one we should have seen as a respected figure that is through democratic process in our state. But unfortunately, the one we are having is really dirty, to say the least. If you can recall, we do not really have internal crises within the party. Habidicho. The party was going smoothly, even though there were personal rancors among members. But that the state chairman of the party, Emperor Gerard Tenebe, went to a TVC news. In that news, who are you going to give how is the election going to be? It was just a simple question asked by the host of that event. And openly said, we already know. He said we are not giving tickets to a serial loser. The word we are not giving tickets to a serial loser. I'm quoting him now, not like this is what he meant, because I'm not in his heart. I can't tell you what he meant. We are not giving tickets to a serial loser. And we went further. Why is this man using this kind of, everybody, they are party members, even though you will have sentiment towards a particular candidate. One should expect every other candidate who contests, every other aspirant who contested during that process should be integrated. So using unprintable words like serial loser on those people who are not going to be fair, it's not fair on party members. That is our personal take. And he went further to say, the right person is already known, and the person is not a pastor. Certainly, he has preempted the outcome of a process that has not been done. He has predetermined who becomes the candidate. This is unfair. Who is a serial loser? First of all, we had issues with it. But coming out boldly to tell us that you already know the right person and the person is not a pastor, it implies that he was referring to a particular candidate. Our stand was not basically, we did not hate a particular candidate. We never liked a particular candidate. We are APC Media Diaspora team. We have a serious responsibility to mobilize our fellow APC teams, even if they are not APC, every members of EDO, because we felt the best way we can consolidate what every positive things that is happening in the state is for us to go around the entire countries in the Europe, America, Canada, UK, everywhere, speak with people who are from our state to support this governor so that we can have a fair state, everything going on smoothly. Because if we have excess opposition in the state, it may lead to several, even the little oppositions we already having. You can see the way they make news every day, come up with several allegations and several things. It's uncalled for. So we expected those that are to have that privilege of also gathering everybody together. Now, what we have done since in gathering the APC, irrespective of being in opposition in past time, one man is there in the name of a party chairman. You are there using unprinted languages that are very unfair on members of the political party.
Okay, let me just pause you there. Let me pause you there, Dr. Brahima. I'll come back to you in just a moment. Ermasalia Hiswa, give me your take on this. The APC chairman is a member of the party. He has the right to his opinion, just the same way Dr. Lanza has his right to his opinion, and you also have your right to opinion. I've heard people say those statements are tantamount to imposition of a candidate. Does that resonate with you?
Well, I said the party chairman made statements. He didn't mention anybody's name. According to our Glasgow, it's a question of who gets what, when and how. The time is determined, and it determines how the political engineering and the process is taken. You, as an aspirant, aspiring into a particular position, either Edo South senatorial seat, certainly you must have confidence in yourself that I will win the primaries. It doesn't matter what the chairman said. The chairman made a statement in order to make party members to be serious, in order for them to do their best. Now, if the chairman said that we cannot give ticket to a serial loser, yes, you can give ticket to a loser. Now, that is an avenue. It is a stepping point for somebody to come up in order for the person not to be a loser. For you to let the chairman know that you are not a loser, I am a winner. Then you put your best. Sometimes in politics, we have blind followers. And blind followers, they give every political action, every political word or political statement, they give it unnecessary coloration, which is so appalling, which is lugubrious, and to say the least, it is preposterous. It's not something we should count on. We, as members of the All Progressive Congress, and as a political scientist, I will tell you today that the party is struggling in order to get 2.5 billion votes, which the governor has made a public declaration of. Let me tell you one thing. People that are engineering this, people that are taking this on the high side, are many persons that are trying to cause faction in the party. Because we know quite well that there are some persons that have this mindset of going to ADC or NDC, as the case may be. We know how it works. Let me tell you critically, we as party men, we always project the interests of the party. Even when I was in PDP, I always believe in PDP, not other parties. Now, in APC, we believe in the APC. Let me tell you, the party chairman is somebody that certainly that is loved by many. Why is he loved by many? Because he speaks something directly. The man, he doesn't go to, it's not somebody that will go this side and go this side. He speaks directly. It's somebody that speaks directly, that directs the statement, and it makes the party members for them to stand and rise in order to challenge opposition in a more professional way, as the case may be, or in a way that the party will have this confidence of winning the election. Getting 2.5 million votes, as the case may be, in addition to that, which the party chairman said in his own words, that 3.5 million votes, adding to what the governor said. Getting this vote is not something that you just flip aside. It's something that you must put party members to their toes. You must make them to rise. If some of them are sleeping, let them rise. Saying that we give a ticket to not a serial loser. Who is a serial loser? Have you made yourself to be a serial loser? For example, Dr. Duke. Somebody says serial loser. Would you step in and say you are the serial loser? You cannot step in. Rather, you will put your best, like the way you are doing on ITV. You put in your best to bring out the best in the broadcasting company organization. You understand my point? That is what we are doing in politics. In politics, like we check now the opposition, they are rising, they are striving hard in order to fight the incumbency or the incumbent government in power. You understand? Now, the government in power should also put a strong force in order to win, in order to declare, in order to deliver for the president. It's not just a memo thing. So I want to advise those that are taking this deep inside them that it is wrong, it is out of place. It's not something that is supposed to be called for. When you hear people start talking about that, the chairman made some statement, I corrected them sometimes. I said, oh, did the chairman mention somebody there? Even if he says not a pastor, do we have many pastors? Do we have only one pastor in those houses? Do we have only one pastor? We have many pastors. So are you going to tell yourself that you are the one? Why not rise in order to move forward? You see, in politics, we have spectators. We have spectators who have watched the political game. They are easily influenced by some attitude, words, and actions of some politicians. Let me give you a clear term. You see, I don't want to discredit my brother, Dr. Alassa Brahma. The diaspora, we love them, but there's no pulling unity in diaspora. But we love them because they have been contributing to the growth of the polity. But there's one thing I'd always encourage them: stop foiling faction in a party. It has happened some time ago when Governor Kowore was sworn in as governor. Some persons came up and started fighting a particular structure that was appointed by the governor at diaspora, and they created faction among them. I advise them, this is not the right way to go. Why not meet the party executive, discuss this issue, and you address it, and it becomes something that you can hardly put together. You don't just come on there and say, if you have an issue, you present it to the party state working committee. Then the state working committee will look into it. And if there's any way that the chairman heard, they can call the chairman and discuss with him and say, Mr. Chairman, if call yourself a party man, this is the best way of going. You understand? Not just trying to foil crisis, trying to foil faction in order for us to have maybe a stake in it. So I want to stand on it that the chairman has not mentioned anybody's name. The chairman only made a statement in order for all APC members to work harder to declare the Edo State for Mr. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. That is my take on this, Dr. P. Thank you.
Thank you so much for those perspectives. Dr. Brahima, let me come to you. There are those who say people like you are making a molehill out of nothing. That a statement that is so is giving so much attention. In that statement, the particular name of the pastor wasn't mentioned. The specific name of the serial loser wasn't also mentioned. I'd like to get your reactions along those lines.
I want to first of all talk about this young man that has been using this same language that people want to decamp to. That's why they are making those statements. If you want to motivate anybody into winning, the use of a statement like a serial loser, if I use that statement in my capacity, nobody will take me serious using that statement. But as a leader of a party, not just a leader, the first person you can see when you look at the state APC is Emperor Gerald Tinubu, apart from the governor, who is the general leader. A statement like that is very insulting. And when things like that happen, you discover it, it is good you call him privately and say, this kind of a statement, you don't use it mostly when we are in the breach of a contest. When we did that, Tinubu openly started raining insult on. They thought this guy that is talking, ask him, he was not even supporting the governor that is our sitting governor now. The man that he did not support the sitting governor. We know what we went through in stabilizing this APC that these people are not talking about now. Tinubu came from PDP to APC, and we have been there. We know what we have been going through in that party. The former APC chairman, Aslebo Jesua, this was one of the patterns they were using then, synergizing themselves with the governor's opinions and everything. That was what tore that party apart. Now, we are going to a major election in the state. And a statement like this was made by let me tell you the reason why we came out openly on this issue. During the local government election, was there election in that our local government contest? Let us be sincere. 18 local government form was purchased and shared to members, without consulting every other aspirant.
Dr. Lassa, let me just understand this point clearly. In the analysis we've done so far, you are taking us to the local government election. Are you saying that in the local government primaries, what the APC did in Edo State was imposition of candidates? Is that what you're saying? Because you are saying there was no election, or there was no primary election.
Not coming out, because if you're talking about party man, sometimes this process of you saying because they are as a party man, you should hold on to this, you should do this and do this. I'm not one of those people who support, I will just hold a candidate. Because I love a particular candidate, I will be biased towards other candidates. I'm very objective. If we conduct the local government election, they allowed a fair contest. Many supporters of other aspirants who have issues, we are already having internal issues of the position of candidates during the local government election. We already had issue there. So now one should think that at this time, every other candidate, every other aspirant should come together. Since we already made mistakes before, it is time for us to correct those mistakes. As I speak with you now, we already have crisis in that place where we want to correct. Another contest is coming because nobody talked about that one. Because if we are party men, if anything happens, let us manage the crisis inside. We all manage that crisis inside. Again, a major election is coming, and you are imposing a candidate that the state chairman said the right person is already known, sir. You have been in this game for a long time. You have been a journalist for a long time. You are going for a contest where the umpire, part of the umpire of that contest, is telling you that the right candidate, you already predetermined the outcome of that election before the process. The person is not a pastor. You said, why am I ascribing? I didn't ascribe it to anybody. I did not ascribe it to anybody. My major concern in this game is that you shouldn't use a language like that, and that you already know the right candidate before a process is an aberration or total death to the democratic process that we have been pursuing in the state. That is my concern.
Okay, now let's talk about the conduct of the primaries itself. We are aware that the National Working Committee will be taking charge of these primaries. Isn't that something that should be some sort of consolation, and then we play down on some of these issues that are brewing, because giving it attention tends to amplify. Don't you think so, Dr. Alasa?
I wouldn't love to give so scenarios any form of attention. I don't really want it. But the problem we are having now, the reason why we came up with these issues again was when the state House of Assembly election, the form to be sold to and the entire member was withheld, had been issued, was withheld by the party. Also wanted to sell just 24 forms to 24 members, just the way they did the local government. Part of those problems, what we experienced in the local government, they wanted to bring it to the state. I said, this is not fair. The people that you are marginalizing, they have followers. If these followers rebel against the party, automatically you are depleting the votes that will get to the party. We want the party to succeed. We do not want elements like Jared Tenebe to be an hindrance or the governor of the state to be an hindrance. The process that brought in the governor we have is a fair process. So we shouldn't, even if the process that brought the governor is thinking that it's not a fair process, I want you to think that at this time of our democratic process, the man in the helm of affair should correct some anomaly. There is no, we are not having war. Let's do the things. I'm not supporting everybody that are campaigning. They are brothers. We are all one. They belong to the same political party, but the process should be fair. We are humans. People have traveled around the world. You have gone through every other places. There are some certain things we shouldn't be allowing in our state. Look at this same process that pushed E.J. Agbomayima to NDC. These are processes that we have not entered into the elections. We're already losing members, and we want to accumulate votes. Don't you think E.J. Agbomayima has votes? Look at other members. Look at the Edo North today. There are crises in that place. And even if you as a party, you have your own candidate internally, you should be expected to use wisdom to project your candidate, not publicly. Look at the other case the other day. The state APC youth leader, Tony Kabaka, was endorsing an aspirant as an elected member. What do you say about that? When he already has his own candidate before a process, and these are the people who are supposed to bring other candidates together when the election is over. Sir, we have people who don't even know what they are doing at the end of affair in our APC leadership there. And we want the governor to tame Emperor Jared Tenebe, because if Emperor Jared Tenebe is not tamed, he's going to bring another problem. It
looks like you have a personal issue with the APC chairman.
That is insult. They should coordinate the party. We need peace in the party. Tomorrow they can decide to leave those two people, just the way Obaseki and Asemo Jesua left the party and became stranded in our state, and we reorganized the party. People came in, another set of idiots to deplete that party for us. It's an aberration. If you're not seeing what we are seeing, we're in pain in the state.
Okay,
we need peace in our state.
Let me pause you there. I'll come back to you as much as time will permit us. Hiswa, talk to me about this seeming implosion in the party, which borders on imposition of candidates. I'd like to get your reaction on that. I mean, is this not being something that you can say is self-inflicted, even from the leadership structure of the state? And then what difference do you think that the National Working Committee that has been mandated by Mr. President to conduct these primaries can do differently to sort of douse these tensions?
I go further, or before I address the issue, let me clarify something. When you talk about people that have been decamping because of one thing or the other, when I listen to Alasa Brahma, you see, when you mentioned the name of some serial defectors, these are same people that they just want a little crisis in the party. And with that, in fact, without missing words, within a twinkle, they have already run to another party. It is part of their political behavior. In their political behavior, whatever they see, they cannot endure a party system. They are running from one party to another. We know that. And when you mention their names, you have spoiled everything entirely. Now, let me clarify something. In a political process, as regards electionary process, electionary engineering, there are sales of forms, which is the nomination forms, the expression of interest forms, which the party has made open to aspirants. There are many aspirants for House of Assembly, House of Representatives, Senate, governorship seats, and presidential seats. They have purchased their forms, which we are aware of because we are part of the system, and we have many of them that we are championing. Now, after that process, you see there will be a screening process, which is ongoing, I believe so. Then the primaries begin on the 15th of May, 2026. This is a process that we should not preempt what comes after the primaries. Let us see how we can put our best to ensure that the party produce the best to contest for the elections. I want to advise also the party that there should be an internal democracy in the system whereby people should not feel rejected. They should not feel being sidelined, or they should not feel being taken out of place. Rather, there should be an inclusive process whereby everybody is involved in the system. When everybody is involved, even if there is maybe somebody feel being cheated in one way or the other, the person can easily come in and support the person that is elected candidate of the party. Well, it's a direct primary, which involves we want to appreciate the lawmakers for making it possible for us to have direct primaries or consensus. Initially, in the electoral laws of 2023, as the case may be, 2022, as the case may be, we have direct or indirect primaries. We have a consensus, but now we have direct primary, which involves the people. It is like conducting an election, a general election, where the party members are fully involved. Now it's left for you as an aspirant, for you to go to your ward, to go to your unit, to go to your constituency in order to talk to your people, want them for them to vote for you in the primaries. Because we all as party members will present our membership cards and vote in the primaries. So I want to say something that in this process, I don't think it would cause rancor like the previous one, except some person may not be satisfied with the system, which is why we have the appeal, the party appeal process, whereby you go through that process and we reconcile everybody that is involved in the process. Let me tell you something again. We have consensus. When a consensus candidate is presented, you don't need to be angry because the person was accepted by the working committee, the state working committee. And you could recall that the aspirants have been directed to their governors. They've been directed to their governors and their state working committee to work together. So whatever comes out, either you lose two direct primaries or there's a consensus candidate. So people do not need to feel bitter about it because it is part of the electoral laws. It is in accordance with the law. So whatever that is in accordance with the law, it is accepted by the constitution of the country, which is Nigeria. So I want to advise my brother, Dr. Alasa. I think your bitterness, like what Dr. just said, maybe or you have a personal grudge with the state chairman. I will advise if you have a personal grudge with the state chairman, you can address it with the state chairman. You have the right to visit the chairman's office when you are in Nigeria, or you can put a call through to him to discuss with him personally and address whatever grievances that both of you might have had or are having, as the case may be, in order for the party to succeed. What we need now is for the party to succeed because as it is now, we have a lot of work to do in the party. I don't want to mention names of people you talked about recently. When you pinpoint these people, you get to understand that most of them are serial decampees. They are serial defectors. And these are people that they try to, if any slight of crisis within the party system, they leave the party. We have been in the political system since many years ago, 20-something years ago, we have been in the political process, as it will be, with regard to the...
just a moment. What do you make of the concerns expressed by Dr. Brima. He talked about the local government election, and he claimed that forms were hoarded and made available only to those who have become anointed. And in a sense, he also talked about the State House of Assembly, that a similar scenario is playing out. And this seems to be going upward to the National Assembly primaries as well. What do you make of that as a major concern when you look at it, that this is anti-democracy, as it were? What do you make of it?
I made mention of the electoral laws, which we talked about consensus candidates. You see, in the local government primaries, many were consensus candidates, and it is not out of place as regards the constitution, the electoral laws. Any law that is inconsistent with the law of the land is found to be null and void. And the electoral law is established by act of parliament. So whatever that is attainable in the electoral laws, those things can be accepted by the generality of the people. The electoral law stated that will be consensus, direct primaries or consensus. So the party has the right to go through consensus and say, these are the people that the national, the state working committee, as the case may be. You understand my point?
For primaries, is the same thing as consensus. Is that what you're saying? Ermosele, can you hear me? Can you hear me? We have a bit of a network glitch. I hope Dr. Ermosele can get back to us and respond to my last question. If forms are being hoarded, is that the same thing as consensus, Ermosele? That's the question. Okay, let's hope you can reconnect. But let me get back to Dr. Alasa Brima, who is joining us virtually to drive this conversation. What, in your opinion, will help to checkmate this issue? I raised the issue that the National Working Committee has been saddled with the responsibility of conducting these primaries. Isn't that something that should give you some sort of a fillip that whatever statement has been made is just a mere statement? It really will not be a factor in determining who becomes what after the primaries.
Thank you for having me. It is a which that that statement should not play. It is our wish that the National Working Committee is responsible for conducting the primary. It's another good one. But what made most of us to come out strong like this? When we see you as a leader, what most people don't understand, when we see you as a leader, there are some certain things that we expect from you. But when you are falling short of those responsibilities or those things that we are expecting from you, it is also we that are the follower responsibility to say, sir, something like this is happening, something like this is happening, because we already have histories of, we already had a backlash of history where things like that has diminished the strength that the party has. For example, I want to point this out. You see, when the one aspirant went to the house of Ogbede, to Odubu, the house of Odubu, when he got to the house of Odubu, you see what Odubu did. Odubu was very fair. He addressed the first one when the article of Zageze Yamu went there. During that process, he talked normal. He encouraged everybody to go to the poll. As a leader of a party, you see the way the man addressed the situation. Even if that man, at the end of the day, may have sentiment towards the candidate, don't make other aspirants feel inferior. So when the other man went there, this Ogbede Yamu went there, you see the way he spoke. That is this is a PPC shifting, addressing aspirants. So it is fair for him to say, okay, this person, okay, this is how to talk to this person, discuss with this person fairly, so that this person doesn't feel inferior. If the National Working Committee is the one conducting the primary, we will be so glad. We'll be so glad. You know why? Even if they have any other thing they want to do behind, let us go to the primary fairly. That is what we want. We are not against. In case he was talking about what was it saying? No, he said about these are the consensus. This is a process. No, you are just telling us what we already understand about the electoral process. But in a clear sense, we do not want, if that electoral process was followed, you are saying that the 18 local governments had a consensus. How can 18 local government have a consensus? Was forms sold to other aspirants? That's the question you should answer. Because I want to give you 20, I can give you 10 aspirants who forms were not sold to that I know personally. Not that we are pushing them. They want to buy forms. Some people flown down from the abroad to come and buy form in Nigeria. On getting to that place, they denied them access to getting the form that the government already bought the 18 form for the 18 local government chairmen. And this is not a statement of allegation. You that is with me here, point one aspirant that got the form, but at the end of the day, don't have the consensus, or tell me which of the aspirants was called after the local government election. Oh, you people should calm down. We let us do it like this. No, none of them was adopted. They discarded every other aspirant like a piece of tissue. And you expect those people to gladly support the ambitions and vision of the party in further election. Remember, during primaries, during the process of selling form, that is where the party accumulates money to do any other logistic, do anything they want to do. Why not allow the process to come? Let them buy form, allow them to go to the field. That process will make every loser during that process happy. Why? Because they were given a fair ground to play. So the winner takes the lead and everybody comes together and ensure they project the winner. That is how a process should be.
Brahma, are you in any way claiming that the governor is part of this imposition of candidates in the party? Is that what you're saying?
100%. I'm not. You see, these people who are scared of telling people these societies are those people who rely on political peanuts to get things, some politicians' peanuts to get things. I'm not one of those people who are depending on politicians to survive. I've been in this game for a long time. I've never taken a dime from a politician to do whatever I'm doing. And whatever we are doing, we do it solely on our own. Although APC Media Diaspora is a strong force that most of these people don't understand. Let us go for example. The governor even told those people, the appointees in Edo South. You know why I'm so concerned about the Edo South issue? If you enter an agreement to give the legacy group of PDP, for example, now APC, those legacy group that came from PDP to APC, there was an agreement the governor had with those legacy group, which are in speculation, is everywhere, that they will take 30% possession of anything that the governor is having in the state. 30% possession, including the senatorial seats. They will take 30% of commissioner, 30% of the appointment, 30% of councillor, 30% of local government election. They had those agreements, which are in circulation. Now, the governor, in his own wisdom, you want to give such a slot to a particular region. Now, you must choose Edo South. The governor is from Edo Central. Now, if you need to compensate a particular agreement that you entered, you are already a governor from Edo Central. Once you think that you should allow, if that agreement you enter with legacy group, you should compensate them from that your side. Since you already have a very power block called the governor in that place, you refuse to do that. Edo North has Oshomole, who was a former governor, already has a strong political base in that zone. You did not go to that place and also look for somebody to compensate the legacy group there. You came to Edo South. Edo South that has been struggling. Anybody that governs Edo South, before you know what's happening, the person has exited the state. Anyone that governs Edo South, before you know what's happening, has exited the state. They don't have a strong political. They're trying to synergize. They're trying to build themselves back. You went to that region. You are saying that you already entered an agreement to give a legacy group this, give them that. At the end of the day, you are using the Edo South, and you're not even allowing a fair contest. What is happening in Edo South? Why we came out? This was more like an imposition of candidates. We already sensed it. And when the APC chairman started making those statements, it became a sort of concern to us. And as a matter of fact, do you know that in the same Edo South today, as I speak with you, the governor mandated those people he gave an appointment to from that region that they should go and deliver a particular candidate. He called particularly this guy from Ovia. He called this guy from Ovia who was contesting with Omosede. He told him that they should go and deliver a named candidate. Not did that. And this is not an allegation. My brother was standing and sitting close to this man when that statement was made. It's an insult to the sensibility of every sane Nigerian at this time of our democratic process. One should expect the governor to be sincere about the process that's already causing the rancors in the state. And you are coming to tell me that you are preaching direct primary. This is the process. Who doesn't know the process?
Okay.
Dr.
Brahma, let me push. Now I can see Eromosele Hiswa. Eromosele, I was asking you a question before the network took you out. If you have a scenario painted by Dr. Brahma earlier that forms were bought and handed over to the council, the chairmanship candidate, as it were, and they also mentioned that forms were also being bought for the House of Assembly candidates. And I'm asking, this scenario that he painted, does this amount to consensus? Because you've emphasized that, which is, I mean, expressly, made available to everyone who cares to read in the Electoral Act. Either you have direct primaries or indirect primaries. So if you have forms now being purchased and then given to people, as it were, I mean, what brand of primary is that? Is it that tantamount to imposition of candidate, which is anti-democracy?
Well, we have consensus in the Electoral Act. You see, when Brahma Alassa was talking, I was smiling. Do you know why? You see, the diasporas, most of them believe in the social media politics, because we have always been at the grassroots level. We have always been at the field. When talking about the present purchase of nomination forms and the expression of interest forms, and he said that the many persons were not given the form, I will tell you that that is far from the truth. We have aspirants. Go and check East and Southeast. There are new aspirants, there are almost 9 for the Edo State House of Assembly contest that have bought the form. Aside the present incumbent House of Assembly member in Edo, in East and Southeast, they have purchased the form and they have displayed their forms on social media. Many of us were part of the system and we monitored everything and we looked at everything. When you talk about other House of Representatives seats, there are people that have purchased the form. They are there in different respective federal constituencies. They have purchased their forms of the All Progressive Congress. Like I said initially, the bitterness of Alassa Brahma is channeled to the state party chairman, Emperor Jerry Tenebe. I have advised him, if you have any bitterness, do not come and push it to the party. Personal issues are addressed personally. Then when we talk about party issues, can be addressed at the party level. So when you talk about the local government, see, I asked him to provide an evidence because the local government will have consensus. Like it is not out of place because the electoral laws accept it. Now let me tell you something. If he wants to have a fight, he should go to the electoral laws and have a fight. Transmit the letter to the National Assembly and tell them that we want that consensus to be taken out. They will know that you are presenting the issue. But when you bring it at a personal level and you start expressing your grievances against a party structure, in order for you to maybe bring out your interest to the NDC or ADC, you are getting it wrong. If you feel that you are not composed with the political party, you have the constitutional right to leave the party, or if you want to come to the constitutional right to present your in a well-professional manner and in a organized manner, then the party will look into it and see how to balance it. Like I've always said, we respect our brothers and our sisters in diaspora, but there's fully unity in diaspora. I want to show that many of us believe in the social equality. People say sometimes fabricated issues, they say propaganda and falsehood to them, and they act upon this falsehood. That is how it is. Unlike we that are always in the grassroots, moving around, going to the field, ensuring that things are done appropriately. They should ask us questions.
Let me pause you. We'll just take a short break. We'll take a short break and then we'll be back to conclude this conversation. Stay TMI on the ITV Next. Please stay.
ITV, certainly the best.
Many thanks again for joining us on the program TMI on the ITV network as we look at the race for 2027, particularly for the Edo South senatorial contest that is generating a whole lot of issues bordering on statements credited to some leadership elements within the APC. We've got Dr. Alasa Brima, who is joining us virtually, is the Director General of the APC Diaspora Media Group. Thank you again, Dr. Alasa. And of course, we've got Mosele Hiswa, a political scientist, also joining us virtually from Benin. Gentlemen, once again, thank you. As we conclude this conversation, what do you think needs to be done to ensure there's cohesion in the party? Some of these discordant tunes are reduced to the barest minimum. Let me begin with you, Hiswa.
In all spectrum. When there is this, it is left for us to come at the round table for us to discuss and agree. I want to tell you vividly that the APC is the strongest political party in Africa as it stands now. When you talk about political party strength, you look at the various senatorial districts, you look at the various federal constituencies and the state constituencies, and the local governments, including the world level. Then you can see that the APC is stronger in all these levels. Based on the fact that the state chairman has been working in good relationship with the governor of the state. When you have rancor between the state chairman and governor of the party, there is bound to be a strong issue in the party or the state working committee against the governor. But as it stands now, the state working committee are supporting the effort of the governor, His Excellency, Senator Mondo Peolo, who has been doing well in Edo State, the working governor. When you check what he's doing, you know that certainly the state working committee needs to support.
Thank you, Hiswa. Thank you. Thank you. We're pressed for time. Thank you. Hope we'll call on you next time you oblige us. But let me quickly get the final word from Dr. Alasa Brima. What's your final take on this?
I want to quote from the word of Pastor Martin Umela. In his word says, first of all, they came for socialists. He said, I did not say anything because I was not a socialist. He said, secondly, they came for a communist. He said, I did not say anything because I wasn't a communist. Thirdly, they went for the trade union. I did not say anything because I wasn't a trade union. They said, and again, they went for the Jews. I did not say anything because I was not a Jew. He said, now they came for me. There was nobody to stand for me again. In my words, be careful when you are making the rules because someday it will be used against you.
Okay.
And any evil you support today, one day, used against you.
All right.
That's all I have to say.
Thank you very
Whenever
much. That was very philosophical, Dr. Alas Abraham. Thank you for your time. I hope to have you here some other time to engage some of these issues. And of course, he's Sonia Romosari. Thank you as well. You see TMI on the ITV network. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you. Okay. Now, let's talk about the environment. You know, I'm very passionate about environmental issues, and that's because it's been my major, and we've got the Honorable Commissioner for Environment with us in the studio, veteran grassroots politician, Nosa Adams Esquire. Thank you so much for joining us on the program.
Thank you very much, Sonny.
I really would have loved to have enough time to talk with you today, but we're pressed for time because we'll be linking up with the Abuja Network studio in just a moment. But let's talk about how many flooding areas have you been able to map out in Benin City and across the state, and what is being done to checkmate this? I want to have that overview before we quickly talk about some specifics.
Well, the flooding problem in Benin Metropolis as it stands today is basically more acute. I want to use the word because it's on and off.
Okay.
More acute in about 6 areas, seriously. The Ugbowo New Lagos Road by S&T is perennial, no doubt. We have the one along Ihama by military base and by the legislative quarters. Then there's another one again along Boundary Road before Adesuwa Junction. There is the one along the Sapele Road, which is being addressed by the ongoing expansion on the Sapele Benin Express way.
Okay.
Then you have the very serious one at the one that is so close to you here at Igbo's Housing Estate. There's another one at Inimirin, which they call St. Saviour, which is also very serious. About and pocket of flooding here and there. There's the other one in Use quarters. So put together, we have serious ones in about 12 communities.
Okay.
And the one that would have added was or is being addressed by the water storm project that was initiated by Governor Senator Adams Oshomole-led government.
Okay.
If the government that came after it had continued, we would have been having a very reduced flooding in Benin City. But so far, there is a serious, comprehensive map that is being produced now by experts, because we've been able to, the ministry has engaged consultants, both within and outside the state, to help us just look at a holistic arrangement on how to completely address the flooding in Benin Metropolis. Then going to Edo North, we have this problem of gully erosion in Auchi,
Okay.
which is very, very serious too. And little of it in Ekpoma, which is also being addressed seriously. And also some little areas in Eastern Northeast and Southeast. But generally, the Benin Metropolis is between 12 and 13.
Flashpoints.
Flashpoints.
Okay.
Yes.
Now we've seen some remedial work to tackle this problem. For example, we've seen some desilting of drains, and then let's talk about the one at Isio by S&T. We saw some, remedial works being done there, but the flood is back. Now, I'm sure part of the reason why you delayed a little bit getting to the studio is that particular spot. So, what is the ministry doing to address that problem?
If you look at it, it's not as serious as it used to be now. It rained last night.
Yeah, I passed there this morning. Yes.
It's not as serious. We are still working. If you go, we just finished the work. We just finished using the swan burger to deseat the pond.
Okay.
Along the express. There is 2 other ponds inside the S&T barracks, which we have not done yet. The contractor is working on that. Once we are through with deseating the 3 pond, they will not through the underground drainage.
Okay.
By the time the underground drainage is through, you will not see water there again. We have not through it yet because we want to finish the deseating, which is more serious. We have to deseat the 3 pond comprehensively and get to the original depth of the pond before we now open the
pipes for the water to flow through.
For the water to flow.
Okay. So, now, quickly, there are some areas you've mentioned. It looks like there is no solution to those flooding problems. Like you mentioned, the boundary road by Adeswa Junction and several other places. What is the challenge? Why does it look like this, problem is a recurring decimal?
No. Look at it, Sonny. Let's look at it this way. When it was constructed, the receptacle had 40 sets, that is holes, that water ought to have gone back to the earth.
Okay.
But over years, the sets were blocked. And subsequent government did not open up the sets.
Okay.
So what we are doing now is to deseat the receptacles, then open up the sets. That's what we are doing. That's why if you go to Boundary Road now, you will see contractors, they are working there already. We are going to open up 40 sets. And those sets were supposed to take the water back to aquifer level. But because it has seated over the years, those receptacles were constructed close to 30 to something years ago. And after the construction, there was no maintenance. So it's the maintenance that we are doing now. So we are opening up the sets now. By the time the sets, if you watch, you remember that when it was done, the first 5-6 years, there was no flooding along that road. But after 6-7 years, the thing came back because there was no maintenance. So His Excellency Senator Monday Okpebholo has directed that henceforth, maintenance must be annually. So, but before we start to do annual maintenance, one of us open the sets, maintain the receptacles, then we will now make arrangement on how we'll be doing the seating of the sets annually. So after that, you will not see water along these corridors again.
Okay, there's some concerns that some of these environmental challenges are there, or they recur because of appropriate funding to drive them. Is that correct?
No. The governor is very conscious of what happens to our environment, because the facilities the governor is putting in place for the people of Edo State, you can only enjoy it if you have a clean, healthy environment. If we lock up this place, now this studio now, and you don't have free, clean air to breathe, we cannot stay. So what the government is saying is, yes, we'll give facilities, we'll give infrastructures, we'll do urban renewal project, but the environment must be clean, the environment must be healthy, and the environment must be conducive. So what he's doing is, he has voted enough money. This very government has voted enough money for environmental pollution management and environmental waste management, both for liquid waste management, solid waste management, and air management. So, as of today, I must tell you, His Excellency has made enough fund available to handle the problems of environment. So,
if you say the governor has made enough funds available, let's talk specifics. What exactly are we looking at? What exactly are we talking about? What is the budgetary allocation for environmental protection, conservation?
I cannot give you.
Is it 2 billion? Is it 3 billion? Because you said it's enough.
When I say enough for now,
yes.
No.
So there's no specific. There's no specific amount.
I can't give you specific figures now because we can even exceed what we have that the budget for the ministry. We can even exceed it. But what I know is we submitted the budget which the governor didn't tamper with, and we are working with.
So how much did you submit? What was the amount submitted by your ministry?
I cannot give you specific figures.
So you are saying you can't remember exactly how much?
I cannot give you specific figures now because we are not only working in isolation. We are working with EIB, European Investment Bank. We are working with Ecological Fund Office at the presidency. Are you listening?
Yeah.
Yeah. We are working with the Federal Ministry of Environment. We are working with so many multinational establishments.
Okay.
And the governor is following every fund made for the purpose of environmental and ecological challenges. The governor is freely and meticulously following the use.
Okay.
So we don't have, that's why we cannot give you specific figure.
Yeah.
That is the
So
amount.
we're not talking about.
But what we need is that,
Yeah.
at least for now, the governor is doing everything possible to have a cleaner.
No,
and a
the
greener
question I'm
environment.
asking, Honorable Commissioner, is this:
No, do you know that-
your ministry,
Yes.
made a budget proposal on what the ministry will expend on all of these issues.
No, do you know
Yes.
what? I cannot give you a
No,
specific.
just a
figure.
moment. Just a moment. Let me establish this point.
Yes.
Your ministry made a budget proposal
Yes.
on what they want to expend in some of these projects: flooding, erosion control, conservation, gully erosion, and water view. Apart from these other agency support, maybe international donor agencies supporting the ministry, now we're talking about what did you present as a
No.
budget from the
Do you
ministry?
know why we
You are
cannot
saying that
give
you cannot give a specific
No,
figure.
we cannot, because
Was it that you
we
didn't have a
parastatal-
specific figure for that
No, wait.
project presentation?
Let me tell you something you are not getting. We have agencies that is under the ministry.
Okay.
And each of the agencies has its own budget. We have park and guiding.
Okay.
It has to do with the environment. They are working.
Okay.
If you go around, you see that they are planting
Trees.
trees everywhere. They are working. It was budgeted for, and the governor has followed it up meticulously. We have the Forestry Commission under the ministry. They are working. They are doing reforestation and preventing deforestation. They are working. We have signage. They are working. We have Waste Management Board under the ministry. They are working. These MDAs were all properly budgeted for.
And these are within the ministry?
Yes, and they are all working.
Okay.
Ours is to just follow everything meticulously and be sure that whatever the governor has released for the environment is used for the environment.
Okay. All right. Before we let you go, because we need to link up with our Abuja Network studio quickly. There was a court ruling. You are a lawyer. Perhaps you have a better understanding of that, where the monthly sanitation was ruled against. What is the position of that? Is it still compulsory for us to have monthly sanitation?
Well, you will agree with me that the court ruling was a court of first instance. So we still have 3 steps to go before we can take final decision on that.
Okay.
As a law-abiding government, His Excellency has directed that we should proceed and appeal against the judgment. But meanwhile, we will obey the law as it were.
So for now,
But listen,
yes.
we went ahead and the judgment has been appealed, and we have filed for stay of execution.
Okay.
So we are waiting, and you will know that once you proceed to appeal and you have taken unnecessary steps to get a stay, you cannot, the law allow you to continue until the final determination of the matter at the appellate level. So we have appealed against it, and we have taken all the necessary steps. So we are not going to allow any meddlesome interloper to stop us from having a cleaner and a greener Edo State.
So for now, is the monthly environmental sanitation still in force?
Very much in force. Very, very much in force. And when you have a judgment from court of first instance and you proceed to appeal against the judgment,
Yes.
it is status quo will remain until the final determination at the appellate level.
All right. So, my Honorable Commissioner,
Thank
Barrister
you.
Sandan, thank you so much for coming on the
Thank
program. Now, it's still TMI on the ITV network. We'll link you with our Abuja Network studio. Joseph is on standby. Joseph, it's over to you.
Thank you very much for joining us on the program, Healthy Living. What is the kidney?
The kidney is an excretory organ in the body, which is for metabolism.
Tuberculosis affects many organs in the body, but the common ones it usually affects is the lungs.
Epilepsy is a neurological problem.
Okay.
It is an injury in the brain which causes someone to begin to convulse, to go into fits.
It is curable, but the cure is a long-term thing.
If you eat well and avoid those risk factors that will make your immunity to be down, then the risk of contracting tuberculosis will be reduced.
If you're healthy, then you're wealthy.
Onwa is rich in culture and traditions. The people are a mixture of traditional worshippers, Muslims and Christians. Onwa is located at the northern part of Edo State. It consists of two local government areas, that is Onwa West and Onwa East. It has a total number of 13 clans and 21 political wards, according to National Population Commission 2006 census. The population of Onwa people is put together at 251,686. The people love tradition and culture. Historically, the people ancestors in deep quest to hand down on their future children a society of love and friendship.
Does it show a race that wants to, grow? So that's why I say it's very barbaric and condemnable. And I have expected AU and even blog governments like ECOWAS, even our own government.
No. For Nigeria, I think Nigeria is currently having a discussion.
We have for the past diplomatic discussion. That's where they are, stripping people naked, beating them, killing them, and it continues. You see, one of the things that makes countries great is your reaction to protection of life of your citizens. How you react to whatever that happened to a citizen of your country. If you are having diplomatic engagements with regards to escalating situation in South Africa, and you are still releasing information about the #1 street to Rwanda, France, or Kenya, what more indication are you giving? In fact, it's we, the civil society, that are even trying to salvage what is left of us, giving direct instruction. One of the organizations gave 72 hours, I think that was at Friday evening, to South Africa embassy to leave Nigeria. If their government cannot sit up, we have not seen people that have been arrested, that we are watching them battering, assaulting people. If those people they are, killing, begin to indulge in self-help, what do you think will happen?
Yeah, no, they shouldn't do that because, it's a game of number. You cannot overpower your host country. But again, we are really worried, especially started in 2008. Many died.
They looted properties.
2019 and all
it
of
continues.
That. Yeah, so, but, comrade, what do you think the South African government can do to quell this?
I think what is happening with regards to xenophobic attack is a failure of government. They have breached the gap with regards to inequality, with regards to employment, with regards to good health facility, education, and what have you. You understand? It appears like just like what we are facing in our own country here. The gap between the rich keep getting wider and wider by the day.
But you cannot blame foreigners.
We have never blamed because it appears like we are more endowed with knowledge and understanding of our challenges. We face our leaders, even though that in certain situations, those leaders try to use tribe and religion to divide us, but never in a situation. In fact, the last time we tried to do such a thing was under Shehu Shaga when we did the Ghana was. Since then, that is enough. We can, and we know that actually face fight through governance. He is playing games and business because the will to face your government force the right thing to be done or governance. So you resort to cheaper ways, blame game, and don't forget that in these blame games, they don't even target white foreigners. It's fellow blacks. Meaning there's this segregation or discrimination that raises human rights promotions and operations in South Africa. And it will not be good for them, especially when they are projecting themselves to be one of the leading economic hubs of Africa. When they are projecting themselves as leaders in Africa,
The land of Onwa is inhabited by the people with common ancestry, language, religion, economic and socio-political ties. However, irrespective of their subtitle differences in language and culture, they share common traditions.
So it appears like when we talk about UN, it begins to make us look as if we are having a very low self-esteem or what have you. That look at a third country or developing countries, they can come and do interventions, but the mighty countries, you cannot do intervention. We even caution them with regards to human rights observation and protocols. So we shouldn't be talking about UN in our own internal crisis. I think what we can even leverage on may be AU, because that is one that concerns us, that you cannot say that if they are coming to do intervention, they will have a external mindset.
Yeah, but
you understand?
But the AU is also lame.
Of course, that's what I'm telling you. That is why.
That's the reason for the bigger body, the UN.
Let's leave UN out of this at all. We shouldn't even be discussing or bringing UN with regard to xenophobic attack, and that is why an eye for an eye at a point will blind both eyes. If South African government is not careful, the way they are handling this issue,
let's not look at.
We are providing solutions. Trying to. That's what I'm saying now. It's only a tree that you keep cutting and you stay there. You know that very well. Even as animals, even the ones that are not biting like goats or sheep, you lock them in a room and continue to push them. They will fight back.
Yeah, the point I'm making is that let's not give room for, suggest reprisal. Let's not suggest reprisal.
We are not suggesting.
Yeah,
but it's easier to discuss on the studio.
Yes.
With Kadiri.
Yes.
If you have a feud, where things like happen, and maybe you have a relative that is faced with this kind of thing, you understand even better. There's this African adage that said that when you carry another person's cup,
it's out of it.
I'm coming. I'm coming. There are at times, even if you stand up to your fears, those fears will not go away. When you keep preaching, let us find the amicable way. Amicable way, you kill your first child, kill your second child. But I'm not even suggesting but there's angle I want to go.
Now listen. Now, if we're talking about solution, you can sue. You can sue the government of South Africa
and claim damages
in South Africa and claim huge damage.
Even in AU court.
Yeah, you can go to AU court. You can go to Hague. There are many quarters you can go and
establish your grievances.
Yes, so I'm sure if that is done and they pay through their nose,
they will sit up.
So that's why I'm saying let's not suggest
now, I'm doing some things, areas you just make reference to many companies in Nigeria, doing their businesses from Chinese to Lebanese and etc., including South Africa. And some of the businesses they indulge in Nigeria in a way that is unfair to workers. They engage in unhealthy competition. Take for example, I will give you one of the South African companies are into entertainment, viewing what we are doing. It's supposed to pay as you watch, just like you have in telecommunication. But in Nigeria, where we are today, where we are having issues of power supply and what have you, it becomes a monthly subscription. Just as we have in the early days that mobile network came into Nigeria, telecommunication, that if you subscribe, don't use your unit, your credit. After 7 days, if you go, you use it just one hello, that particular stipulated amount they want to collect for 1 minute.
Per minute billing.
They will collect it
until Glo came.
You understand? So that is what we face it in that. Never had read that Nigerians, stood up, carry protests, go to these offices, which try not to their name, says sick, and begin to blame them for bad, unhealthy business practices, or begin to unleash anger, loot, or destroy. Rather, we protect them. Majority of their staffs are people. But South Africa, It's a different ballgame. If you are unable to your family, you blame us. If you are unable to treat yourself of headache, you blame foreigners. If you are unable to come in other rooms, you blame foreigners. It doesn't make sense.
You're able to get attention.
If you go to your government, that is why no matter ever you do conversation, they cannot commiserate with the life of a citizen. It cannot bring back life. There's the loss because if you are suing the government, and that is coming, it's coming to the government.
No, even civil society can sue.
When it comes to enforcement, what do you do?
No, civil society can sue.
That's what I'm saying now. If you sue as a civil society registered under Nigerian CACs, and African government, you held at any place, and you get judgment, how do you enforce it? Is it not through your government? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's the problem. I'm in the field. I'm telling you how. You understand? If they are to sue, it's governments of Nigeria sue, or those that have obtained because if you look at records, there are people that are there that are over 30 years, 40 years.
Yeah, but because our time is flying, how do you assess the role of federal government in this?
That is for them to be in their this brotherhood approach has not helped. Mozambique, Somalia, many countries that are affected by these barbaric acts, they need to stand. It shouldn't be that you are doing brotherhood, because if governments are not complicit with regard to what is happening, there should have been arrest. There should have been high power forces that will begin to enforce normalcy and restore order. But you see about the street, something is being guided by the on the resistance African brothers together to resist them. They go again. Kill. So it's time African leaders, especially countries affected, use strong language on South African government. It shouldn't be something you try to, pancake with deodorants and fragrances. You make clear to them, any loss has consequences, not monetary or compensation. You can sever the relationship. Internationally, they are not doing very well. They are having issues, either Europe to America with regards to their international policy. Internally, you are having issues with your brother that are helping you to grow. So it appears like South African government have not lived up to expectation. Imagine such a thing happening. What do you think the Nigerian government will do? Protests, ordinary protests we do in Nigeria just to demand for improved governance. You see how they suppress it. Let alone that you are attacking foreigners.
It can't happen here.
That's what I'm just making a case. If we as citizens are protesting against our own, looking at our government, you are prevented. How much more when it's reported that Nigerians begin to attack foreigners that are already? You understand what I'm saying? Manner with which
those means of
those my son is the same them
because they help the government.
That's understand that. But all these people we are asking to leave, once we try such a thing, the experience today have shown us that it was a wrong action when we asked Ghana to go. Today they use it to mock us.
It's the reverse today.
The reverse is the case today. So it should be ahead of that. African brothers are chasing other Africans away. Whereas they have their citizens across other countries doing legitimate business. Nobody's harassing them.
Do you think a very high level discussion should be held with the government outside South Africa?
They're already having dialogue. That is where I'm
outside South Africa.
Whether outside or inside or anywhere. But I think what we do very strong intervention is if countries affected can have a joint statement, or even if they don't have joint statement, countries on their own stand up, organize press conference. It's not issue of law. In that press conference, make references that, okay, on the day one, this thing started, even before it gets to the public, with ABCD negotiation. After, we have 1 2 portion. All of these things have not been done. And from the records we are having, look at the number of persons we have lost as a city, as a country. We can no longer tolerate it. That is to say, you are backyard of who the discussion again. You are coming up to the world, letting them know, look at what is going on. And we have frantic efforts as brothers to discuss it in other rooms, but it's not working. But we can no longer tolerate this going on. You are directly putting the government, whether they take it serious or not. It depends on them. You understand what I'm saying? So it's not an issue. That's why I started. And I can blind both eyes. But when you start stuff on their own, yes, we have just when you begin to use deodorants in a fashion that is have a capacity of killing somebody, brother, you will not be. I don't think you will come out of that such a fashion. It's only when you face it clearly, and that is why when people that are facing with cancer face at a particular stage, they tend to avoid. So the government does not see it up. These African countries that are being affected can cut off with them.
Well, I thank you for your time with us on the program, Comrade Gerald Kachi, human rights and advocate here in Abuja. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you.
That is the size of our package in the Abuja studio. We now move to the Lagos studio for continuation of the program this morning on ITV.
Hello, good morning and welcome to the continuation of This Morning on ITV. I am Patricia Uremu Gabriels, and it is a Monday morning, 4th of May, new month. Happy viewers. This morning we'll be looking at the judgment on ADC and the importance on the judgment, the importance of this judgment on the general elections. And then, of course, the new one has just emerged. Peter Obi and Kwankwaso had moved into a new party, NDC. We'll be looking at all of this. I won't be doing that alone. I have in the house to be looking at this with me, Barrister Atta. Barrister Atta is a legal practitioner and is, of course, a friend of the house. Barrister, you're welcome to the program.
Yes, good morning and happy new month.
Happy new month to you.
Thank you.
And guess what? It's my birthday month, so I'm excited.
Wow, lovely. That's interesting.
Okay, you're welcome. Thank you for finding time to be with us this morning. We all see how it is playing, how it's played in ADC and how it's playing right now in NDC. But let me start with asking through of the involving.
This board have determined the position of the parties as it relates to the application before the Supreme Court the Supreme Court said that the time spent to appeal over an interlocutory application down to the Supreme Court is enough time that ADC invested to finish the matter at court. Simple. Supreme Court back to the High Court for the hearing of the substantive suits. What have been determined at the Supreme Court is just the interlocutory application. So they are back to the, what is it called, to the trial court now for the proper determination of that matter. As far as I'm concerned, that is a trap. Because when you look at the timetable for the activity, that sometime June is the expectation ought to have been closed. So by all standards, the time, if you look at the timetable, it will not all go out well for ADC. So it's a trap for them. And what happened in Zamfara State may likely happen to ADC at the end of the day. Because what happened in Zamfara, according to the Supreme Court, is that a particular camp that participated in that election, and APC won that election. But the Supreme Court said that that camp that produced those candidates is a wrong camp, hereby setting aside the success of APC in Zamfara State.
The winning.
Yes. So in other words, if the foundation is defective, everything is going to fall down. You can't put something on nothing and you expect it to stand. So if the foundation that is going to produce the David Mark committee, what is it called, the David Mark leader, at the end of the day, the Supreme Court declared them otherwise, all exercise that flow alongside with it will be an exercise in futility.
Well,
let's
keep the judgment aside. Let me keep it aside and then take it from where you had just spoken. Now we heard that Peter Obi and Kwankwaso had moved from ADC to NDC. Do you think their decisions was because of what you have just said?
Well, part of their decision is that there are crises in ADC, there are internal crises in ADC, and that even the judgment is a trap itself. So it's left for them, but they saw all those things before they joined ADC. You cannot be junketing from one party to the other. Within a month or 2 months, thereabout, you have left one party to the other. How effective, how hygienic is that? So for me, I think that the law allows them to of their choice. It's their constitutional right. Both Kwankwaso and Obi, it is their right to join them of their choice. You can hide if in the shooter because retract their membership in ADC, and then thereby it will affect them directly or indirectly. They have to show them and say that it's undergoing maintenance.
As of today, we heard that NDC has a total of members registered at 6.3 members. I mean, that's drastic, you know, for a period of 2 days or 3 days.
Yes. You know that Obi's strength on the social media is very strong. But in red, would they allow him to win the election? The social media, the youths, everybody is clamoring for obedience. But however, will the system allow him? Will the system favor him? So we need to face reality. He needs to go tough on the system.
Okay, as a legal practitioner, you just mentioned system. Can you run through with us what you meant by the system not allowing him to win the election?
The elections basically is done by, what is it called? Is done by the campaign all over the federation. As I'm speaking to you right now, only APC has almost about 30 governors. Thereabout. That's the so that would not affect governor. Only that we are not using a transmission. The election manually is 21st century. We are still clamoring for analog as against digital.
Okay. We also have citizens saying that
the opposition needs to unite together. Otherwise, what happened in 2023 is going to happen again. There's already division among the camp of the opposition. The obedience, they have been moving. They are moving from one party to the other. They articulate. They are now set to good for. So it's now going to be division all over the federation. And that's what Mr. President wants. The division of the opposition is what Mr. President will article to seek part of his prayer, and now it is for the whichever way it goes. But directly or indirectly, the party is in disarray. It's in disarray right now. The of Kwankwaso barely have affected the party within 24 hours.
True.
Within 24 hours.
True.
And then I don't know why the opposition cannot come together.
Because well, it is a question I want to put to you. Do you think it's an internal crisis that is making the oppositions not to speak together? We saw it happen during the present president now, who actually gave way for Buhari, Muhammadu Buhari, to come on board. He said, okay, let's work for you, you win the elections and go. So this is working for Hicho. What do you think is the reason why the Atikus, the Obedience, the Kwankwaso, you know, putting all of them together and not wanting to speak in one voice and, you know, have a very good opposition party?
I think that what I can see there is a spirit of entitlement. Obi is feeling entitled. Atiku is feeling entitled. Amechi is feeling entitled. Kwankwaso is feeling entitled. And once you have that spirit of entitlement, it is innate, and you are not ready to let it go, you can't achieve anything. Let
me come in there. I don't want to agree with you that I'm not obedient, but from the body movement, I think he would have, you know, given way even to become the vice president candidate. But his move are saying presidency ticket or nothing.
Well, those are his movements, but will you allow, when you see that the system will not allow that to fly, will you listen to your people who will not come out on election day to defend their votes? When they go and get tough, do you think you see all those people that will stand firm under bridge somewhere in Lagos and defend their votes? They will disappear. The movements are more active on social media. You will not see them in reality to go far doggedly both day and night to defend their votes. Elections in this country is upturned at night. After you vote everything, you do your best and everything, and you see results.
Who's going, the youth, you know, don't you think this 2027 election might be different from what we have always experienced?
I don't think anything different, because he's a mother of all experienced and seasoned politician that is on board. When he was not even the president, he manipulated his way and then he won. How much of now that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is in power, do you think he's going to give up like that? He will not. And that is what I continue to tell people. You must go tough. It's not enough for you to be on social media ranting.
How tough? How tough do you want people to go?
People must go tough in such a way that they come out to defend their votes. You stay till and ensure that the vote is being counted. You don't just vote and then they collate it in your presence, you disappear. Whereas the election is done at night. All those ones that you see people on a queue wasting their time saying that, oh, this and that, I will vote him out, this and that. That is not the real time that the election is done. Election is done at night in this part. After all, yes, you vote to do it. This is late. You that say, I want to say that that's an election that is shamble.
So what do we do to correct this?
It's for Nigerians to come out massively, stand firm, stand resolute, be determined, and then intensify all their efforts and ensure that they protect their votes. Otherwise, it's going to continue. We're going to continue in this state of comatose.
Oh, Barrister, that's a lot going on. Okay, so in your view, does the judgment reflect judicial independence or political influence?
Well, I cannot say, because the judiciary is my territory. Yeah, I'm on oath to protect the integrity of the judiciary. What the Supreme Court have determined is in line with the relief before the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court said that, oh, go back to the High Court and ensure that the matter is being determined properly. Why are you appealing on interlocutory application that does not correlate with facts in issue? But however, I give kudos to the Supreme Court. At least the David Mark leadership is now recognized. And
but you said it's a trap.
It's a trap, but they allow themselves to be trapped. Yes, they went to Supreme Court. Name more that non-habit. You can't give her what you don't have. They went to Supreme Court to request for something, and the Supreme Court gave them what they requested for. The main suit is still pending. They need to go back and ensure that the main suit is being determined. So it's not that judgment is not mere cosmetics. It's something that you need to dilute it. People knows very well, who understand the terrain of the legal profession. I'm sure they must have advised them. And they have decided to go on the frolic on their own. It's left for them. As far as I'm concerned, that judgment is a trap. And ADC may not likely participate in the forthcoming election. Maybe that is what the likes of Obedience, Kwankwaso and others, that's what they saw. And they have decided to jettison the party and then move on with another party. But what we are saying is that what stopped them from registering their own party from the beginning? Is it that they did not see all this?
Probably.
Well, as it is now, they allegate the Federation that Mr. President is involved in all the parties now. It's not just his strength is not just narrowed down to APC. He's now in all the parties. His influence.
That's an allegation. You're not sure of that?
No, there are allegations. I'm not sure. But but we have, to an extent, I think I will agree with you, because even though it's an allegation, we have overheard the, what is it called? The Bajabia Miller, or what's his position thereabouts. He came out recently to say that one of the ADC members should continue doing what he's doing to scatter ADC. So what kind of statement is that, even Mr. President? When you are not concentrate, when you don't concentrate on your own party and you poke nose into the affairs of other people, other party, are you not?
Well, Barrister, that's an allegation. That's not a confirmation. We are not sure of what you are saying, because it's just a statement, so it can be proved. We're not sure of what you're saying. But let's move on this judgment. So, are there any legal grounds for appeal, and what are the chances of their success?
Well, this is the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court is the apex court. After the Supreme Court, the next composition is God and his cabinet. So you leave the rest for God. The Supreme Court is the mother of all courts by virtue of our profession, of the legal profession. So appeals on that point have been determined. Now they have gone back to the High Court. After the determination of the substantive suit at the High Court, if any of the parties agree, he or she can appeal to the Court of Appeal. From the Court of Appeal, the other party, any of the party can appeal to the Supreme Court. But as it is right now, the matter is pending the High Court, and it must determine if any other can ask not anyone to appeal. So that is what the law is. So it's not a matter that is negotiable.
It is not negotiable.
So
so let's look at 2027 elections, which is just around the corner. Okay, could this ruling reshape the political landscape as we approach 2027?
Well, I'm very optimistic. Let me put it this way. The youths have been saying it. It's not enough for the youth to go on social media and be ranting, making noise, be insulting people who are not of the same party with them. Politics is done at the grassroots. How many of them are involved at the grassroots? How many of them? We are shouting.
Okay, so they're trying to reform politics now. You know, I think they are trying to say it doesn't have to be, we all don't have to be grassroots politicians. But as Nigerians, we have the right to choose who we want to rule us as our president, okay? So I think that's the reform these youths are trying to bring. We all can't be grassroots politicians, but we can actually decide and choose who we want to rule.
You don't just decide like that. You decide by being involved. You can't be outside and then you determine what is done indoor.
No, but you can cast your vote.
I agree with you,
Yeah.
but collectively, it's better you are involved. You are part and parcel of the system. Otherwise, you will not.
So are you saying everybody that carries the card to want to vote must be part and parcel of the system?
I'm not saying that, but you have seen that the system has frustrated people, frustrated a lot of good candidates enough. So, and that is why our involvement is very, very important from the grassroots. By the time we start pushing all the dirty and all the inexperienced, corrupt leaders from the local level, and then we move gradually like that, it's going to be social media making noise, and then these same people, you not see them to come out. A lot of them, the election tune to channel, and then be watching TVs and on different channel on DSTV. That is a problem we have in this country. People are not proactive. The youth are not ready to grab the power. When I was a child, I was told that the youth are the leaders of tomorrow. Now I'm now an adult. I'm now growing old. Where are the youths? We have people of 70-something who something old who declare their age. They'll come out to contest for election. We have a president who is 80-something years old, and series of that.
Okay, Barrister, could you just quickly run us through the judgment, how this judgment aligns with Nigeria electoral laws and constitutional provisions?
Well, if you look at the provisions of the Constitution, everybody has the right to contest, except you are caught up with one or two factors which may not allow you to contest. It is equally your right, your freedom of association. So the Supreme Court, by saying that they could go back to the court, acknowledge the provisions of the Constitution and the fair hearing, and the need that should be settled first, the main issues, which is still pending at the High Court. And now the David Mark leadership have been recognized in the interim, pending the determination of the substantive suit. So, however, whether we like it or not, ADC will produce candidates in the forthcoming, but what is the candidate will survive the decision of the court, or whether or not they can contest to any matter to be cracked, as the case may be. As it is now, the Mark leadership is a recognized leaders of AD. But however, what may likely happen thereafter? That's my take.
So, as a Nigerian, what lessons should political parties learn from this case moving forward? You are a Nigerian. You are going to vote. You want to a leader of your choice. So, what lessons should political parties learn from this case moving forward?
Well, I want to say conclusively that, well, they should recognize that, political parties should recognize that you can't just do it alone. You need a force. You need to know when to put heads together and come together collectively. Mr. President, like you said, he's part and parcel of the people that produce the immediate, the late President Buhari, because at the point concession after the then president like 2 or 3 and he lost. Have to consider the constituting president, late President Moi. I don't know what is happening with Haji Atiku Abubakar, Obi, Peter, Kwankwaso, Ameshas.
Okay, quickly, 1 minute, or rather 1 second. Finally, what should Nigeria watch out for in the acts of this judgment? And Peter Obi and Kwankwaso too.
Well, Peter Obi is a force, it's a movement.
It's a movement.
It's a global movement, whether we like it or not. Seeing history, they have his movement. It's something to proposition that a quant therefore presupposes that what happened in 2023 may likely happen. There may be division of votes, and that will give credit to what is it called, President Bola Ahmed.
Well, anyways, thank you so much, Barrister Atta, for coming today. As usual, you have just made Nigerians understand the judgment and the movement of Peter Obi and Kwankwaso to another party. Thank you, as always, and thank you for being the guest of ITV. Viewers are for watching Patricia.
ITV, Certainly the best.
Good morning and welcome to ITV News Updates. I am Chukufumnanya Digwe. Now, the Nigeria Police Force has paraded suspected officers, including ASP Nuhu Usman and 3 others responsible for the extrajudicial killing of Ogidi Mene in a Efurum community of Delta State. Security correspondent John Tenner reports that the force public relations officer, DCP Anthony Placid, paraded the dismissed officers at the force headquarters in Abuja.
The dismissed officers, including the prime suspect ASP Nuhu Usman and others responsible for the brutal killing of the 28-year-old Ogidi Mene from Efurun in Delta State, were driven into the premises of the force headquarters to be paraded. Speaking, the Force Public Relations Officer, DCP Anthony Placid, said the suspected officers, including the prime suspect ASP Nuhu Usman and others who were dismissed from the force after due process was followed, will be handed over to the Justice Ministry for prosecution.
Following the conclusion of investigations, ASP Nuhu and 3 other members of his team have been arrested and currently in custody. Internal disciplinary procedures have been concluded against all officers found culpable. The force wishes to state clearly and without ambiguity that all indicted officers have been recommended for dismissal from the Nigerian Police Force. The Police Service Commission has reviewed and ratified these recommendations. Their dismissal is therefore confirmed and takes immediate effect. The case file has been formally forwarded to the Office of the Attorney General of the Federation for vetting and prosecution.
The police says the identity of the remaining suspect will be revealed to the public in due course after the conclusion of investigation.
The identities of the suspect, all the suspects will be made known at the appropriate time because we are still on their trail.
The killing of Ogidi on the 26th of April attracted widespread public outrage after the video of the incident went viral on social media. From Abuja, John Taina, ITV News.
In another report, the National Vice Chairman, Southeast, of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, Ray Naji, has dismissed claims of a leadership crisis within the party, attributing the controversy to what he described as a misinterpretation of recent court rulings. Speaking to journalists at the weekend amid rising internal tensions, Naji insisted that the PDP structure remains intact and fully functional, with no leadership vacuum as being speculated in some quarters. His comments followed remarks by former Senate President Adolphus Wabara, who suggested that the party's Board of Trustees, BOT, had assumed leadership following the Supreme Court judgment on the disputed Ibadan National Convention. Naji rejected that interpretation, insisting it does not reflect the actual position of the judgment. He accused some party members of deliberately misrepresenting the ruling to create confusion and deepen internal divisions. Away from that, governors in Nigeria's northwest have reaffirmed a unified and uncompromising stance against insecurity, declaring that they will no longer engage in any form of negotiation with bandits as part of renewed efforts to restore peace in the region. The position was reiterated by Sokoto State's Governor Ahmed Aliyu during the commissioning of the 12.1 billion naira Yadaki Shinkafi Kofar Sauri Road project in Katsina State. Aliyu said the Northwest governors are collectively committed to confronting criminal elements head-on, stressing that peace cannot be achieved through dialogue with armed groups. He explained that state governments across the region are increasing investments in security infrastructure and strengthening collaboration with security agencies to dismantle bandit networks and end persistent violence in affected communities. Aliyu also urged residents to support security efforts by remaining vigilant and reporting suspicious activities, warning that bandit operations often rely on local collaborators. Now, as the international community marks World Press Freedom Day, the Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project, SERAP, and the Nigerian Guild of Editors, NGE, have called on the government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Nigeria state governors, and the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory to urgently ensure press freedom, protect journalists, and bring an end to the escalating insecurity and widespread human rights violations across several parts of northern Nigeria, including Benue, Borno, Kwara, Plateau, and Sokoto states. The statement followed the conference and interactive session on the role of the media in promoting people's rights, accountability, and access to justice in the context of growing insecurity in Nigeria, held yesterday at the Radisson Blu Hotel in Ikeja. The event was jointly organized by SERAP and NGE to mark World Press Freedom Day. In a joint statement on Sunday, SERAP and NGE emphasized that protecting journalists and safeguarding information integrity are central drivers of peace, security, and democratic stability. The group said any credible peace, recovery, or security strategy in Nigeria must integrate support for free, independent, and pluralistic media alongside humanitarian, institutional, and economic responses. The Nigerian Army has explained the circumstances surrounding the arrest of popular blogger and social media influencer Justice Mark Chidebere, also known as Justice Crack. In an official statement signed by the acting director of Army Public Relations, Colonel Apollonia Anele, the Army said its intention was drawn to a social media post by Chidebere, where he highlighted complaints made by some soldiers regarding their feeding and general welfare. According to the statement, while investigating the matter for possible breach of the armed forces, social media policy and spreading of misinformation, the Army said preliminary findings revealed that Chidebere had engaged the soldiers in discussions that allegedly sought to incite discontent and subversion within the ranks. It said a situation where civilians cultivate vulnerable personnel towards acts of subversion has far-reaching implications on discipline and national security. The Army disclosed that Justice Chidebere was arrested alongside the concerned soldiers for further investigation. While the soldiers remain in military custody, Chidebere has been handed over to the relevant civil authorities for additional investigation and possible prosecution. Away from that, the federal government has summoned the acting High Commissioner for South Africa to a meeting in Abuja following concerns over recent protests targeting foreigners and attacks on Nigerian citizens and their businesses in the country. According to a statement issued on Saturday by the spokesperson for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Kimiebi Ebiemfa, the meeting is scheduled to take place on Monday at the ministry's headquarters. The ministry stated that the engagement was aimed at addressing developments that could strain diplomatic ties between the two nations, which have historically maintained cordial relations. The ministry noted that discussions at the meeting would center on the ongoing demonstrations by groups in South Africa, as well as reported cases involving Nigerian nationals. While acknowledging rising tensions among Nigerians over the situation, the federal government called for restraint and assured citizens of its commitment to their safety abroad. And with that report, we've come to the end of ITV News Updates at this time. I am Chukufumnanya Digwe. Thank you so much for watching. Up next is TMI Socials. Stay tuned.
ITV, certainly the best.
Good morning, welcome. This is TMI Socials. I'm Nuoluwakwo Stevens. Or better still call me a social media butterfly. Now guess what, today we begin with the biggest story trending currently on social media. Hashtag ADC, hashtag NDC, hashtag Nigeria is okay, as presidential hopeful Peter Obi has announced his decision to leave the African Democratic Congress, ADC, ahead of the 2027 general election. Now, in a reflective message shared on his official X handle on Sunday, Obi cited a worsening political climate marked by internal crisis, external interference, and growing hostility within party structures. While former Anambra State Governor, who ran for president on the platform of the Labour Party in 2023, described Nigeria's political space as increasingly toxic, where intimidation, insecurity, and persistent scrutiny have become the norm. Now, meanwhile, former Anambra State Governor Peter Obi and his Kano State counterpart Musa Kwankwaso have formally joined the Nigeria Democratic Congress, ADC. Now let's take a look at how all of the event unfolded yesterday.
The tutelage of the leader of this party. And we don't do anything until it is commanded. First and foremost, we want to present to Your Excellency, Distinguished Senator Rabiu Kwankwaso. This is On the other hand, ably supported by our leader, a new Nigeria, we present to the in-law that have already been accepted the membership card of the NDC. As a symbol of your entry, this is what we decorate you with. It's also and we decorate the reigning principality in Nigeria.
Well, interesting times ahead right here in Nigeria. Interestingly, the presidency has responded, calling Peter Obi a political nomad. Well, reacting to this online, let's see what you have been saying. We'll start off with this user who wrote on X, the most selfish politician in Nigeria. He would gladly ruin himself, ruin whatever party he is, and even ruin the whole opposition, all for his personal greed. Okay, well, still reacting to this online, let's get other reactions. This one wrote on X. Peter Obi and Kwankwaso together, that's a legit coalition. 2027 is about to be interesting. Another user still on this bit says, let's see what we have. I have been waiting for this move because it was very obvious that so many interests were in ADC. Atiku, for one, will not allow anyone pick up their ticket. Now, still reacting to this online, if we could have our final reaction, this user wrote, it seems the votes will be divided again, but this time Atiku will have lesser numbers. Well, only time will tell. Now, still staying in politics, remember one-time former governor of Kogi State, Yahaya Bello, he was trending over the weekend as he has picked up the All Progressive Congress APC nomination forms for the Kogi Central Senatorial election. Now, Bello received the forms on Saturday ahead of the 2027 general election. The ex-governor, who is also the APC consensus candidate for the senatorial election. Now, report has it that Bello will be running against the incumbent Senator Natasha Akpoti-Oduaghan of the People's Democratic Party, PDP. And remember that also one time ago in the political space in Nigeria, he was actually wanted by the FCC. But how has that been? Nobody knows. Now let's see. Okay, let's have the video first of when he was, dancing with the form and go over to reactions.
Congratulations, Your Excellency.
Yes, thank you.
Congratulations, sir.
Thank you very much. Congratulations to all of us.
Congratulations.
Congratulations,
Your Excellency. Congratulations to Kogi.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Now let's move over to tweet and see what you have been saying. Well, this user wrote on X. Nigeria still have a very long way to go. How could someone that's still under investigation for his alleged money misuse in office obtain a senator nomination form? Okay, well, another user reacting to this wrote, running for Senate while the investigators are knocking on the front door is peak main character energy. I guess the nomination form doubles as a get out jail free card. Oh well, only time will tell. Now finally, this user says, what a nation, the head of EFCC cannot see this selective justice, but he was bragging about investigating Pastor Jerry. If you know, you know. Now away from that, my third story for you for today would be from a former Rivers State Governor, Rotimi Amechi. Now he has said that supporters of the Labour Party presidential candidate in the 2023 election, Peter Obi, have repeatedly attacked him online, but he deliberately chose not to respond. Take a listen.
I didn't include my people don't fight. Have you seen Amechi person fighting on social media? It is between Atiku's people and Obi's people. And Obi's people abusing me. We never reply. It's not because we don't know English or we can't reply. The reason why we don't reply is that we always want peace. The obedience insists Obi or nothing. Do they have the numbers? That's the question. The Atiku people say Atiku or nothing. Do they have the numbers? You know, there are things you say when you win, it becomes difficult to bring everybody together. So because we know we will win, we're not abusing everybody, so I can bring everybody together. So that question should not be asked to me because I'm not abusing everybody.
Oh my, well, political season is heated up already in Nigeria. Now, obedient people definitely came for Amaechi, as this one wrote, why will Amaechi ask if Peter Obi has the number? He doesn't have the number. He gathered over 6 million votes. Atiku should not be a greedy person. Why would he want to contest even in 2023 after his brother just did 8 years? He is wicked as far as I'm concerned. Dear Amaechi, Peter Obi has the number. Another user on X still reacting that says, haha, Rotimi, that Wike drove out of his state. He can't even win his world. They wanted to shine with Obedient and Kwankwasia movement. He's stranded right now. Wayo man. Okay, still getting more reactions. This one wrote on X. Let's see what we have next. Amaechi is working for Atiku to divide Southern vote at the primaries. Someone that cannot win Wike, even with federal might, is talking of numbers. Well, away from that, okay, let's have this one that says, this one is propaganda. Peter Obi has never abused you or Atiku. Peter Obi supporters don't even have your time. Now, in another development, the governor of Kaduna State, Uba Sani, has said something interesting, as he said that President Bola Tinubu would only lose the 2027 general elections if voting were conducted on social media platforms. Now, Sani made a remark during an interview, which actually began trending yesterday, where he addressed the growing political discussions ahead of the next election and the influence of online narratives on public perceptions. Anyway, let's take a listen.
On Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, social media, Asuwaju will lose. But if it is people that will vote through the ballot, polling unit, he's going to win 70% of the vote.
Well, there you have it. It's up to you, social media ranters. Now, let's see how you took this online. This user says, you are wrong, sir. Even on the social media, Asiwaju will win. Okay, the Obedients are just overhyped people on social media. They know how much basketballs we have given them back to back. On these media, silence is not golden. Now, another user reacting online wrote, but to be honest, there is difference between social media voters and reality voters. Let's not deceive ourselves. East people, their vote is only for social media, but still, they vote past Yoruba people. Okay, well, on Instagram, this user says, let's start by asking how many on social media has PVC and how many are willing to go out to vote and defend their vote on the election day? Good question. This user says, this man spitting fact, many keypad warriors here don't have voters cards, and if you ask them, they will tell you our vote doesn't count. Now, finally on TMI Socials, here is an interesting report of why Nigerians are always excited despite the hardship, the economic downtowns that we get to face every single time. Now, in this report, the FAAH gene mutation common in about 45% of Yoruba Nigerians, according to genetic data, shows the breakdown of anademia, a natural mood booster similar to cannabis. Take a look at the report.
So on this graph here, we see a very low, and there's some really interesting things. So on this graph here, we see a very low prevalence of that variation A in a population, all the way up to where you have a lot of people in a country that have that variation of the gene. Okay. And we're mapping that up against happiness here. So very low levels of happiness reported in the country compared to really high levels of happiness. And the data from around the world shows that the more people have this variation of the gene, the happier that country reports being, with Nigeria, our prime example, waiting for us at the top there. They are very happy, and they also happen to have many, many more people with this variation of the gene. In fact, Nigerians are twice as likely to have that genetic variation compared to people in the UK. What does this gene do? So actually, it codes for your body's natural version of cannabis.
Explains a lot, Bronwyn. Explains a lot. And interestingly, Wales is falling off the map. Not even there.
No, it's not even on there.
Anyway.
Well, there you have it. They say Nigerians are happier than people living in the UK. Now, the question is, are you happy as a Nigerian watching me right now? Well, let's find out on socials. Let's find out here with the comment. Now, Mr. Steven on X wrote, it's an interesting claim, but genetics alone rarely explains happiness. Environment, economic conditions, and social resilience play a much larger role in mental well-being. Another user on X reacting says, no wonder I keep on despite the so many challenges. Sometimes I wonder why I don't get depressed and PTSD. Okay, well, now you have the answer. Now this one wrote, basically all Nigerians are not normal. That is why we can accept to be bullied, harassed, and still collect rice and smile. Stockholm syndrome. Okay, well, straight bullet actually hit people collecting rice in Nigeria. Now this one finally says, another mind-clogging, brain-washing article to keep Nigerians comfortable with striving every day for the barest minimum. And going all over social media, some persons even saw this as a big problem as regards we Nigerians always adapting to every situation that comes our way. Now that's how we wrap up TMI Socials this morning. Thank you so much for being part of the show. I am Nuoluwakpo Stevens. And from all of us this morning on ITV, have yourself a great day and please keep staying happy.